animation as a whole, as a subject, you know, it is about not always about reality, right? It's about believability. You know, so if the player feels that it's something they can do, it might not physically be possible, but you know, we want to believe it's possible.
You will have to find your way when nothing is as it seems.
Is it just a mirage?
The best way to describe Assassin's Creed Mirage is it's a tightly crafted, stealth-based action adventure. We're not an open world RPG, but we do carry RPG elements within what we're doing, but we've created a much more precise sort of gaming experience. We've got many methods at our disposal, and in the world of games animation, you know, a common one, as you mentioned, is motion capture. Performance capture is also within the game, but we find that more in the cinematics. So that's much more high definition and detailed sort of capture process. For gameplay animation, then we use just standard motion capture. But also we do keyframe stuff, so it's a much more traditional based animation because quite frankly, in certain situations it's more efficient, more relevant to use that method. So many fight moves, some parkour moves, for example, you might keyframe because actually it's a bit difficult to ask a real human, apart from parkour experts, right, to actually run up walls and jump the distances we're asking them to jump. So obviously we have a hand in that.
Don't let him escape! Time to vanish.
The shelves being pulled down, so we call them ingredients. In other words, they're sort of things that you can add in the world. They're always going to be there. You can use them to your advantage, whatever. That particular one is a mixture, actually, of motion capture and keyframing for the props, keyframing for a bit for the Basim to make sure that he fits. So yeah, you know, and we design them, you know, there's a huge design process that goes into just even the most simplest of interactions and ingredients such as that. So of course we have to work with designers, we have to work with art teams, with character riggers, you know, everything, well, props riggers to make sure that everything works in the game. Oh, absolutely, yeah, all the time. There's a real fine line, fine balance. I mean, animation as a whole, as a subject, you know, it is about, not always about reality, right? It's about believability. You know, so if the player feels that it's something they can do, it might not physically be possible, but, you know, we want to believe it's possible. It's going to happen. It's a kind of quite a magic trade I have. But yeah, the conversations are always there, you know, and certain people will say, well, we can't do that. It's, you know, it's not fitting for the world, not fitting for Basim or your character that you're working on. So, and you tone it back or you try something different. I feel actually really pleased and proud, you know, proud of where we've got to, you know, with that added kind of pressure, as it were, to be able to take a step back, sort of engage all of our collective memory on what it is to play an original Assassin's Creed game, and then kind of work forward and really hone in on specific things like stealth, assassination, parkour, and always remind yourselves of those three things when you're making the game. You know, I think we've done a pretty good job. We're also very aware of the community sentiment, you know, is it original, is it not, is it like one of the more recent Assassin's games? You know, for us it's kind of like, well, we want to take a bit of everything if possible, tap into a little bit of everything, and like I said, bring back that nostalgia. The feeling actually is really important. The feeling, what do you remember from AC1? Are you feeling it now? You know, and we were always playing the game and kind of trying to tune our senses into that. That's a very good question, because now I have to remember the game that I've just made. I don't know. You know what? There are. You're right. There are many, and they're not just within Baghdad. There's stuff outside in the wilderness. I can tell you what I enjoy doing, and that's actually being an assassin. The shorter periods of time you have to spend in a contract, for example, to go from A to B. We're not traveling across a huge map. I like the fact that you can spot an area in Baghdad. You can then parkour all the way there, do your business, and then you have the right orientation. You know where you are in the city. You can get back through a different, parkour navigation route. So whichever way you turn, you're going to end up where you want to go, but it will all be different, if you see what I mean. And you'll experience different people, different things, different zones, different areas, and that's actually kind of what we wanted to achieve, We, as kind of architects, as it were, of Baghdad, needed to create this dense world. So we knew that. But we also knew that we had to be able to navigate through it easily, to also achieve the kind of notion of parkour, the feeling of parkour. We couldn't reinvent parkour. We couldn't reintroduce, as mentioned, the Unity, for example, that just, so how do we manage that dense city to create what we want? There was work on animation, quite a lot of work actually, but a lot of it was cleaning things up and making the world flow, make sure that you have the correct routes, you didn't really get stuck, you kind of get some momentum going and then all of a sudden you can't go anywhere. It's kind of frustrating, so we really worked on that. Understanding what the place would look like. As a team, it was really important for us to celebrate Baghdad for what it was then. And of course, the huge challenge then is when you start involving historians and authenticity teams, etc., etc. And then, of course, normal games development stuff is building the world, fitting it all together, making sure it's right. Artists might do something and I'll come and go, we can't do that because of this and this system, and then they have to change it. So it's always an evolving process. And the moment-to-moment gameplay experience is really important. So you don't want to puncture that or interject that with too much slow down cinematic storytelling. Sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it's not, or it might just be camera changes to emphasize a specific assassination or a specific moment, which can be a really powerful tool as well. But yeah, it is very collaborative and lots to do with quest design, game design, animation, camera. There's a whole plethora of people involved in that, which is one of the challenges of big projects, right? The AI and detection systems. So we did an awful lot of work on making sure that guards, for example, that they were actually looking in the direction that you are, or in the direction that they are looking, rather than sort of having this cone of vision, which is just huge, which I'm aware was a bit of an issue before in terms of stealth, which is problematic. So actually we did an awful lot of work on working on AI's blind spots and kind of their vision cones, but that also meant making sure that the animations that they use in those moments are the right animations and not, so they're not wandering off looking in different directions, and actually they can detect you if you're behind them, which is completely absurd, right? So a lot of kind of fixing and making sure that that was accurate, and the really positive thing about that actually is that we've got a much more solid stealth experience visually through animation, not just through the game, if you see what I mean. So you can sneak out around a corner, and if a guy is looking one way, he's looking that way, so you can take the risk, you can take that choice to sneak past him without him seeing you or hearing you, rather than it being an unfair detection. So I'm proud of all of the game, to be honest with you. I'm just proud. I'm proud of the game. I'm proud it's out there. For an animation team, I think we've really done our best of our ability to bring back that kind of original Assassin's feeling from assassinations through to parkour, to blending stations, to benches, to everything. Every time we kind of really try to focus and interject our passion, as it were, for creating the right game, or at least the game we believed in, into that. But I think globally, no, I'm just really proud of the studio, to be honest with you. It's a big thing for us, and all the other co-dev studios that work with us, so it was very collaborative. So just proud to be a part of it.